of crystal. As he packed up camp, he noticed deer tracks nearby, faint but fresh. The hunt was back on. He slung his rifle over his shoulder, took a sip from his thermos, and set off deeper into the woods, following the trail with the trained eye of a man who had done this 100 times. The prints curved eastward, away from the dried riverbed, into a part of the forest even less traveled. There was no marked path, but Tyler trusted his gut. That morning, it was telling him to keep going. Roughly 2 miles in, the forest began to change. The trees grew closer together, their limbs gnarled and knotted, casting jagged shadows across the ground. Moss hung heavy from the branches, and strange clusters of mushrooms peeked through the underbrush in odd, unnatural patterns. The deer tracks suddenly stopped. No turning, no scatter, just stopped. Tyler knelt, brushing away the leaves. In confusion, nothing. No signs of struggle. No scent trail, not even a broken twig. It was like the animal had simply vanished into thin air. That was the first moment he felt it again, the unease crawling back up his spine. He pulled out his GPS unit to check his coordinates. But the screen flickered, then went dark. Dead battery, maybe. Or something else. He tried his backup, a satellite-connected watch he'd used for years, but it refused to load. "You've got to be kidding me," he muttered. He wasn't lost. Yet the compass still worked, and he had the rough map in his coat pocket. Still, the technology failure wasn't just inconvenient, it was strange. He looked up through the trees, suddenly aware that the sun had slipped behind a curtain of gray clouds, dimming the forest around him. Still determined, Tyler pressed on, ignoring the twisting in his gut. Every instinct told him to turn back, not because of danger, but because of something else, something unseen. But that same instinct, the one that had kept him alive in the wilderness for years, also whispered curiosity. Maybe it was the silence. Or maybe it was the stories he'd once laughed at. Maybe, deep down, he wanted to prove them wrong. Either way, he kept moving. Every step off the known trail was a step into a place few had dared walk. The terrain grew more uneven, forcing him to climb over fallen logs and navigate around thorny thickets. Then, through a gap in the trees, he spotted something ahead. A dry, narrow clearing, surrounded by dense bushes, far too symmetrical to be natural. At the center, the dirt looked disturbed, as if something had been dragged or buried. Just beyond that, barely visible through the foliage, was a dim, flickering light, pale blue, almost metallic. It wasn't sunlight, and it wasn't fire. Tyler crouched low, squinting toward it. It was still far, but definitely real. His heart began to pound. Not from exertion, but from something deeper. Tyler crouched behind the thick brush, barely breathing. The light ahead wasn't moving, but it seemed to pulse, not like a flickering flame.